was trying to pick out something as beautiful as you. I don't think I did you justice.
Okay. That's it. That's our show. I'm gonna go cry.
Kelly Clarkson walked into a tryout line in Texas back in 2002 with nothing but raw talent and a list of failures behind her, and what happened next changed pop music forever. More than 2 decades later, she's not just a voice anyone recognizes within 3 seconds of a song starting, she's a businesswoman running her own record label, a Las Vegas headliner selling out one of the most legendary stages on the Strip, a mother of 2 navigating an unimaginable loss, and a woman who, by her own admission, has no idea who she's going home to tonight, and seems completely fine with that. This is where Kelly Clarkson actually stands today, in 2026, once you strip away the headlines and look at the real picture. To understand how she got here, you have to go back to Burleson, Texas, just outside Fort Worth, where Kelly was born on April 24, 1982, the youngest of 3 kids. Her mother taught first grade, her father worked as an engineer, and their divorce when Kelly was 6 left a mark that would later surface in nearly every album she made. She wasn't the kid anyone expected to become a global pop star. She loved marine biology, she wrote, she drew, and it took a middle school choir teacher overhearing her singing in a hallway to point her toward the path that would define her life. By the time she graduated high school in 2000, she had scholarship offers on the table and turned them down to chase music in Los Angeles instead. That gamble nearly broke her. Demo deals fell apart, an apartment fire destroyed what little she had, and she ended up moving back to Texas with her tail between her legs. Then, in 2002, she auditioned for a brand new singing competition called American Idol, and within months she went from broke and discouraged to the most talked about new voice in the country. Her win wasn't just a reality TV moment, it launched a debut single that broke chart records and a second album, Breakaway, that sold north of 12 million copies worldwide and produced some of the defining pop anthems of the 2000s. She didn't just survive the reality TV star label that sank so many of her competitors, she built a body of work that earned her 3 Grammy Awards and a permanent seat at the table of serious recording artists. Now fast forward to where things stand financially in 2026. Most credible estimates, including reporting from outlets like Parade and Celebrity Net Worth, place Kelly's net worth somewhere between $50 and $60 million. That range exists because, like most celebrity fortunes, it's built on educated estimates rather than a number she's published herself, but what's not in dispute is how diversified her income actually is. Music still pays her, with decades of catalog royalties from a back catalog that includes Since You Been Gone, Stronger, and Breakaway. Television, though, has done even more heavy lifting. Court documents from her divorce revealed that her combined monthly income from The Voice and The Kelly Clarkson Show was close to $1.9 million at one point, and reports from Variety and other outlets have pegged her per-season voice coaching salary at around $14 million, a figure that made her one of the highest-paid personalities on the entire show. Add in a syndicated daytime talk show that's collected more than 20 Daytime Emmy wins over its run, a children's book series inspired by her daughter, brand deals, and acting and voice work in projects like Trolls World Tour, and you start to see why her finances have stayed remarkably stable even through an expensive divorce. What makes 2025 and 2026 especially interesting for Kelly's career isn't stability, though, it's reinvention. In the spring of 2025, after spending her entire adult life signed to a major label, she launched her own independent record label, High Road Records. That's a significant move for any artist, let alone one with her level of name recognition, because it means she now owns her masters, controls her release schedule, and answers to no one but herself creatively. Her first independent single under the new label, Where Have You Been, dropped on May 2, 2025, a genre-blending rock-pop R&B track she co-wrote and that was reportedly inspired by a line from the Hulu series Only Murders in the Building. She debuted the music video on her own talk show, performed it live at Rockefeller Plaza for the Today Show City Concert Series, and brought it back during the season finale of The Voice. It was as much a statement as a song, proof that after more than 20 years in an industry built around label control, Kelly Clarkson was done waiting for permission. That same period saw her return to the Las Vegas Strip. Her first residency, Chemistry, an intimate evening with Kelly Clarkson, ran at the Back Theater from 2023 into early 2024 and reportedly grossed over $10 million across just 14 shows, an intimate, stripped-down show built around the heartbreak album she wrote during her divorce. The follow-up, Kelly Clarkson, Studio Sessions, opened at the much larger Coliseum at Caesars Palace in July 2025, the same stage that's hosted Celine Dion and Elton John, and pulls from her entire catalog alongside surprise nightly cover performances, the kind of unpredictable, full-band Kellyoke moments that made her talk show segment go viral in the first place. The residency. was paused briefly in August 2025 during a deeply personal family matter, which we'll get to, but it resumed and has been extended with additional dates running through August 2026. Around the same time, NBC gave her a primetime spin-off called Songs and Stories with Kelly Clarkson, a 4-episode special pairing intimate interviews with stripped-down performances from artists like Lizzo, the Jonas Brothers, Gloria Estefan, and Teddy Swims, expanding her television footprint right as her flagship daytime show heads toward its final chapter. Kelly has also quietly built one of the more well-traveled real estate portfolios in entertainment, and it tells its own story about her life over the past decade. The home she calls her true sanctuary is a sprawling Montana property known as Warren Peak Ranch, valued at roughly $17.75 million, which became the most contested asset in her divorce. Brandon Blackstock argued the ranch was jointly owned marital property, but the court ultimately ruled it belonged solely to Kelly under their prenuptial agreement. Since she alone held title to it, she did agree to pay him just over $900,000, representing a small ownership stake, to settle the dispute and keep the property outright. Before the Montana ranch became her anchor, she and Blackstock shared a roughly 20,000 square foot lakefront mansion in Hendersonville, Tennessee, which she sold for $6.3 million in 2021 after years on and off the market, and a custom-built 8-bedroom farmhouse in Encino, California, complete with multiple kitchen islands and a home theater, which she let go of for $8.24 million later that same year. In their place, she picked up a considerably smaller but still striking 5-bedroom, 7-bathroom 1936 colonial in the Toluca Lake neighborhood of Los Angeles for around $5.4 million, a home with a pool, tennis court, and guest house that became her base with her 2 children after the split. Since her talk show's production moved from Los Angeles to New York City in 2023, she's also been renting in Manhattan to stay close to set, while the Montana ranch remains the place she keeps returning to whenever life gets loud. The story of how she ended up rebuilding her life across all those properties starts with Brandon Blackstock, a Nashville talent manager she met in 2006 at rehearsals for the Academy of Country Music Awards. Nothing happened between them right away, but years later, after their paths crossed again, things moved quickly. He proposed in December 2012, and they married the following October in Tennessee. They welcomed daughter River Rose in 2014 and son Remington Alexander in 2016, and for a while, Kelly's family life looked like the fairy tale outcome fans wanted for the American Idol winner turned superstar. But cracks were forming behind the scenes, and in June 2020, Kelly filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. What followed was anything but a typical celebrity split. Because Blackstock had also served as Kelly's manager for years, the divorce became entangled in business disputes as well as personal ones, including questions over commissions and the ownership of the Montana ranch. Court battles dragged on for nearly 2 years before the divorce was finalized in March 2022, with Kelly retaining primary custody of their 2 children and the Montana property, while paying Blackstock spousal and child support along with a settlement related to the ranch. She later channeled much of that grief and anger into her 2023 album Chemistry, an unusually raw, unfiltered project even by her standards, built around the arc of a relationship falling apart. Then, in August 2025, the story took a far heavier turn. Blackstock had privately been battling melanoma, an aggressive form of skin cancer, for more than 3 years. On August 6, Kelly announced she was postponing upcoming dates of her Las Vegas residency, explaining only that her children's father had been ill and that she needed to be fully present for her kids. Less than a day later, Blackstock passed away at his home in Butte, Montana, at age 48, under hospice care surrounded by family. The county coroner later confirmed melanoma as the official cause of death. Despite everything the two had been through in their divorce, he remained the father of River and Remington, and Kelly stepped fully out of the spotlight in the weeks that followed to help her children process the loss. When she eventually returned to her talk show, she opened with a quiet, stripped-down cover of The Weeknd's Blinding Lights instead of any kind of statement, letting the performance speak for itself in a way that resonated with longtime fans who'd watched her process pain through music before. It's against that backdrop that Kelly made the decision, announced in February 2026, to end The Kelly Clarkson Show after its 7th season. In her own statement, she explained that stepping away from a daily hosting schedule would let her prioritize her kids during this stretch of their lives, calling it the right move for this next chapter rather than a retirement from public life. The show, which launched in 2019 and relocated production from Los Angeles to New York in 2023, has earned more than 20 Daytime Emmy Awards across its run, including wins for Kelly as Outstanding Entertainment Talk Show Host, and will continue airing new episodes with occasional guest hosts through the fall of 2026 before wrapping for good. She's been clear that this isn't a goodbye to television or music altogether, she's expected. to keep showing up on The Voice from time to time, and has no plans to step back from touring or recording under her own label. As for her personal life heading into the back half of 2026, Kelly has been refreshingly direct about where things stand. She's single, and not particularly stressed about it. In a May 2025 appearance on Today with Jenna and Friends, she summed up her dating life by saying she's neither actively looking nor entirely ruling it out, mostly because her schedule, and her kids' schedules, leave little room for it. She's spoken openly about how her children have made their feelings on the subject known too, telling a radio audience that River and Remington have repeatedly asked her not to date anyone new, to which she's responded honestly that while she loves them deeply, she also needs love and connection in her own life. In January 2026, performing at a celebrity golf tournament in Florida, she introduced her old hit My Life Would Suck Without You with a self-aware joke about not currently being in a relationship like that, and the crowd loved her for the honesty rather than feeling sorry for her. Various tabloid insider reports throughout 2025 suggested she might be slowly warming up to the idea of dating again, and that she's hoping it happens organically through people she already knows rather than through any kind of public search. But as of now, nothing has been confirmed publicly, and Kelly herself has consistently said she isn't in a relationship. What's striking, looking at all of this together, isn't any single headline, it's the pattern. Here's a woman who survived a brutal early career, won the competition that arguably invented the modern singing show format, built a music catalog that still pays her bills 2 decades later, walked away from a major label to build her own, kept a talk show running for 7 Emmy-winning seasons while quietly going through one of the more complicated divorces in recent entertainment memory, lost her ex-husband and the father of her children to cancer, and somehow still managed to joke about her own single status on a stage in front of strangers a few months later. That's not a comeback story in the traditional sense, because she never really left. It's just Kelly Clarkson doing what she's always done, turning whatever life throws at her into something honest, and letting people watch.